Hi, this is Puntthenwhine. So today I've got with me as a guest Piegonti. He's a great Italian player and grinder. Plays a lot of different decks in Modern. Been at the top of the trophy leaderboard, or when he's not at the top, he's usually very close to the top. Today he's going to be piloting elementals against me. What drew you to this deck, elementals? Why have you decided to play this deck in modern right now?
So after hello everyone. So after Modern Horizons 2 came to Modern, I feel the meta shifted towards being aggressive because if you remember, there was like Iliad versus Bullet Prowess. That was basically the meta. Nowadays there are a lot of grindy tools, iteration, Urza Saga. So I feel Elemental is probably one of the best deck at grinding because all of your cards replace themselves. So Rise and Reef, Omnat, Fairy, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I feel now you have a good blue-white control matchup since you play Cavern of Souls and Teferi. So I picked up this deck because I liked it. I like the elemental package, and I like how it plays versus the various meta decks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Especially, you talked about the grindiness aspect of this. One of the reasons I've always loved Amulet is sort of like the grindiness, this feeling like the longer the game goes, the more likely you are to win because you can always go over the top. And I just don't feel like that's true in the elementals matchup. The elementals, can get these risen reefs, especially you get two risen reefs in play. Suddenly, they're drawing. It almost looks like a storm deck sometimes. Like you're just getting more and more and more things compiling, and you can be going over the top of things like Primeval Titan. I imagine you can probably even go over the top of, things like Tron. These decks, these big mana decks that are normally known for just like going over the top of everything. And Elementals, I feel like is like a deck that's even can go more over the top of everything if it really gets to do its thing. If it really gets to go.
Yeah, I have the same feeling.
Yeah. And then, also Cavern of Souls being a very good. It seems like blue white is all over the place. So I think being on a Cavern of Souls deck makes a lot of sense. So, how much experience do you have with the Amulet matchup with this deck? How much are you running into Amulet playing this deck?
I mean, not very much. I feel I face it once every 3 leagues. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played, I guess, 10 or 12 times versus Amulet.
Gotcha. And what going into this? What's your impression of the matchup? Favorable, unfavorable, even? Where would you put it?
I mean, it really depends on the pilot because the experience make this matchup more difficult because a lot of the times people try to rush me and I feel being the aggro player as the amulet I'm not sure it's the correct move because they can just have solitude and you stumble a couple of turns without anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel you really have to understand what's your strategy toward the matchup. The matchup I feel it's even, so I don't feel favored or unfavored. I guess on the blind sometimes you keep a slow end and you get rolled by Titan. But knowing I'm against the Titan, I keep a hand with Solitude or Fury, so I might have some tools. I feel Solitude is basically the game breaker because zero mana interaction that sometimes goes 2 for 1 with the Ephemerate. So that's basically the way I win.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Certainly, Solitude, one of, if not the most important card in the matchup. It's either probably Solitude or Risen Reef. Being the most important card from the elemental side of things. Just being able to answer a Titan and being able to tap out, and do your own thing, and then have these answers back, and so the Titan player kind of always has to play with Solitude in mind. So even if you don't have the Solitude in hand, perhaps the Titan player doesn't get to haste their Titan just because they have to play Afraid of Solitude, and then you ephemerate a Mole Drifter and draw it next turn or whatever. So yeah. So what your sideboard plan? You said that you like to take out some Utopia Sprawls and Lightning Bolts and bring in Force of Vigor and Alpine Moon. You said is your sideboard plan.
Yeah, I usually like versus grindy decks because I feel once we played the early game, I don't need to go fast versus you, so I don't need to play turn 2 Teferi or turn 2 Reserve. I can do it on turn 3. So having Utopia Sprawls makes it at some point you have a dead draw step, and I really want to go still going for action because you can outgrind me with Tolaria and stuff or Saga.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually cut those cards, and like Bolt has no target in the matchup. I can just kill Azusa, but I get to stay open. I really want to kill the Titan and Drive in this matchup. I don't really care about Azusa. So yeah, I side in Alpine Moon. I usually name Urza Saga or the East Land. Sometimes I name maybe a bounce land, like if it's your only way to put mana advantage, or I can name Valakut.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of targets in the matchup. I'm happy I have three. Then I have Force of Vigor because you can tag Dryad, Amulet, and Saga.
Yeah, Force
And
of
since
Vigor
since
definitely can be a huge blowout, especially, if I'm not careful, or maybe just the way the hand shapes. I have to go Saga Amulet on turn one, and you Force of Vigor both of those. It just complete blowout. There's just it's probably I'm not coming back from that if that happens on turn one.
yeah, and since you play Karna, I might be interested in Force of Negation, like just two,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel the card has other targets in the matchup. I can force an amulet or a pact even, and Karna usually is enough annoying because you can start grabbing stuff. I have
So
your list here,
So what cards are
so
you looking at cutting for if you're bringing in two forces? Like fourth sprawl to fairy or like a fury or what are you thinking?
yeah, I can cut usually a couple of the fairies.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fury is still good because if you have Ephemerate, it can still kill a Titan or just Pyrokinesis kill a Dryad.
yeah, kill
It's
a
still
dryad.
relevant.
Can also kill Karn, which can be useful
Yeah,
since I am on
exactly.
Karn. Yeah. I feel like the card Teferi Time Raveler in most matchups I think is a very weak card against Amulet in general, and I think people should be sideboarding it out more against Amulet than they are, but that might not be true as much in this deck just because the ability to bounce Solitude is quite powerful off the Teferi. I think bouncing your own Solitude to be able to answer another Titan is probably the the best use for Teferi in this matchup.
Yeah, I feel a lot of people, undervaluate the Teferi bounce your own stuff to get additional value. I bounce my reserve a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Drawing cards is good. Okay, so then so just my perspective of the matchup, I would say that in my experience, it's been favorable for me. But then again, I play a lot of leagues, so pilots matter. So I'm really interested to see with a very skilled pilot if it's the same thing. Sideboarding in the past in this matchup, I have actually not been sideboarding at all. I've been so really the only card in the sideboard to look at for this matchup is Dismember. Nothing else in my current configuration does anything, and killing Risen Reefs is like a very important thing to do. But then also, I feel like this matchup a lot comes down to just me almost getting underneath you, like starting chaining the Titans, doing like Talaria West from Titan into Titan, so that the first one that gets answered by Solitude or the second one that gets answered by Solitude, I'm still producing threats. And also, in non-Karn versions, I definitely bring in the Dismember, but in the Karn versions, Walking Ballista becomes a very important card in the matchup. So Karn getting Walking Ballista, and like the advantage of that being that I can use Walking Ballista to kill Risen Reef, and I can also use Walking Ballista to make sure that Solitude doesn't get ephemerated or bounced, so that each Solitude is only answering one thing. And also, there's sort of the nice interaction that if, for example, the Walking Ballista gets exiled by a Solitude, I can always bring it back with the Karn. So it sort of needs to, or if if the Walking Ballista gets Prismatic Ending, then the Karn can also bring back the Walking Ballista. So it sort of has to be answered by a Fury, essentially. So Walking Ballista can be sort of a powerful card. So I think going on sort of that, just following the main game plan, keeping all my mana consistent, keeping all my Titans consistent, and really just trying to get into where I'm chaining Titans or going Walking Ballista quickly has been my approach to the matchup. But like I said, it's very possible. It's very possible Dismembers are supposed to come in. So maybe we talked about playing 3 matches. I might try testing bringing in Dismembers for 1 match just to see how it looks, how I feel about it. So unless you had any final thoughts, I feel like I'm ready to start the match. Do you have anything else you want to say about the matchup or the decks, or any questions about Amulet or the matchup for me?
No, I feel we can play it out and discuss later.
All right, sounds great. So we'll talk again after the match. Good luck.
Good luck.
Can you mute your Zoom? Okay. I think I'm gonna keep this. It goes turn 1 Grazer into Saga. It's not the most exciting hand, but if we draw an untapped land, we get to start making tokens, and we are getting to Titan pretty quickly. Map isn't a great draw here, but I could end up mapping for Castle Garenbrig or something, just as sort of a pseudo ramp, depending. Karn is a good draw. So likely next turn I'm just casting Karn. Probably. Okay, Bouncing Saga. So that slows us down a little bit. So we're gonna replay Saga here. If he has another Teferi, that's gonna be tricky. Probably Omnath here. Okay. So I think I'm grabbing Castle Garenbrig. So Karn. So I have a couple options here. I could immediately minus for Ballista. I could plus. Plus seems a little bit weak to Fury, so I think I'm going to grab Ballista just so that we have an answer to Risen Reef, for example. But there's a good chance, you know, this could just be like a Fury and kill the Karn. Well, the fact that we get to block is good. It means that resources are going to have to be devoted if he wants to kill Karn. Sure. So that takes care of the Karn. We do get to Titan this turn. So I think I am interested in hasting here. And I'm okay if we end up trading this Titan with this Fury and Teferi, since we have a backup Titan. I assume this is Solitude, yeah. Exiling Ephemerate, but we at least get the Solitude and Ephemerate out of their hand. Got an extra 2 life. I'll discard a forest. We're taking a considerable amount of damage right now. I still think I want to Titan before I Ballista. Okay. Interesting. So potentially I could play Simic Growth Chamber, make 8 mana, get Talaria West, Simic Growth Chamber, go back to 8 mana, play a Ballista for 4, which I don't hate. Alternatively, yeah, I think that's the best play. I could try making the ballista for 5, but I think I really want Talaria West. We have enough blue mana, so I guess Celestian Sanctuary. And I think I'll just pass here. I want to make Ephemerate as bad as possible. I'm not particularly concerned about my life total because it's likely this Primeval Titan is going to get hit by a Solitude, which will gain me some life. Risen Reef. I suppose I'll wait till the next time he tries to cast an elemental to kill the Risen Reef. So I think I'll block the Omnath here. It does make Primeval Titan die to Fury, but if they Fury the Primeval Titan, they can't also... If he Furies the Primeval Titan, he can't also Fury the Ballista. And I honestly think the Ballista is maybe more important in this scenario. Now an Ephemerate on Fury here could be tricky. There is not much I can do to stop that, though. And if he does Ephemerate on Fury, that should put him mostly out of resources. Ending on Amulet, that is acceptable. I think I want the Slayer Stronghold in play. Maybe I'm just supposed to make more mana, though. I can Vestige. I can Castle. Well, this is happening. So I'm transmuting this. And this is grabbing a Primeval Titan. I think maybe just make more mana so I can have 2 mana floating, and then I can bounce land Talaria West, put 2 counters on the Ballista. I guess I only have the 1 amulet now. So I can put 1 counter on the Ballista. This is a tough position. If the last card is Solitude, I think we just lose. Is there a way we can beat last card Solitude? We will be gaining some life if the last card is Solitude. Maybe that's an incentive to try and attack first. See if we get to attack. It might prompt him to cast the Solitude before we get the triggers. Maybe I was supposed to grab a fetch there. Yeah, definitely should have grabbed a fetch. Another Fury. Blue mana doesn't matter anymore because we're out of Talaria Wests. I think we're dead to Solitude. Maybe I was just supposed to go for it that turn that I waited post-combat to Dryad. I might have been too greedy. I left the Sun Home untapped so that we can profitably block Fury. We're probably just dying to a lightning bolt here, aren't we? We did not die to a lightning bolt. So maybe not perfect play on my end, but we got there. Walking Ballista really showing its strength. Very similar hand. This one doesn't have the Titan in it, but better. It ramps better. We're also not in terrible shape if we get Alpine Mooned here. I mean, there's a definite real downside to playing this way of Alpine Moon could get us, but yeah. Playing out the castle here because it's better to have the castle in play. If we draw Amulet, we can Titan next turn. I think I'd rather do it this way. If we draw, depending on our draw step, we might want to go for hasting the Titan. And this just gives us more mana to work with as well. Risen Reef is a problem. We're going to be able to chain Titans. We'd really like to avoid seeing a second Risen Reef. Fury to kill the Azusa. So I will go Dryad. And I think I'm grabbing Valakut Talaria West here. Possibly Valakut Bounce Land, just to make the Dryad more of a threat. Maybe Valakut Vesuva, and I can potentially on a future turn Vesuva as a second Valakut. Yeah, I like Valakut Vesuva. Vesuva copy Simic Growth Chamber. Go for both creatures. We've got 2 threats now, so hopefully they can't double Solitude us. If we can dodge a second, I kind of want to just take 6. Because if I draw Karn, I want these Grazers to block to save the Karn. I don't really think my life total is in any danger at all. It's probably a Teferi here, I imagine. Yeah. Perhaps bouncing Alpine Moon, maybe bouncing... Unseen Fury, okay. Maybe Ephemerate. That's quite good. It's possible we just wanted to get the chain going. Yeah, this one, it looks like it's getting a little out of hand here. Okay, that's probably this game. They had a good draw. They had the Alpine Moon right when they needed it. I shouldn't have led on the Saga, perhaps, knowing that he's on triple Alpine Moon. Yeah, I think I would have been better off if I didn't lead on Saga. And I might have been better off if I went for Chaining Titans rather than the Valakuts. I was just hoping that he wouldn't have an answer. Like, I was just wanting one threat to survive. I thought with the two threats there was a chance that one would survive, but he had the answer to both, so that's how it goes sometimes. I'll keep this hand. I'm just gonna lead on Amulet here. I don't know how much I want to play around Force of Vigor. I can go for just a kill now. But I think I'm just going to transmute and try and kill next turn. So I don't just like lose to Solitude. Or like Force of Negation. Does leave me a little bit weaker to a top deck Prismatic ending, but I think we're in good shape. I think good things are happening. So I think the plan is to do triple Titan and a Dryad so that any of the 3 Titans is lethal. I guess we can only do triple Titan. We can't do triple Titan and a Dryad. So we are dead to double Solitude with this play. What do I want here? Maybe I'll just grab some green sources. There's always like a Solitude Ephemerate is a problem. Maybe this play was too greedy. Yeah, I just left myself dead to Solitude Ephemerate. 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Should have waited for him to... I think I could have won that game. Definitely could have won that game. So this hand, we're gonna get some constructs quickly. I really like to draw a green source. If I don't draw a green source, I might have to get map off the Saga, which is not great. Maybe not. I think I can still... Well, I guess that answers that. I'm guessing next turn is going to be Teferi bounce a construct token, which I'm fine with if the constructs die. They're mostly a distraction anyway, while I just try and get myself closer to Titan. Or ending on the map. Trying to keep me off green mana. Makes sense. Constructs are easier to answer. No, I like that play. Ephemerate? Very nice, very nice. Still missing a green source. Omnith? Well, that's it. That's a good draw in that we at least get to guarantee that we are casting Primeval Titan next turn. Our life is getting pretty dangerously low, though. Would really like to see a blocker of some kind. I think I'm gonna get double bounce land and just hope to rip something off this explore, maybe? Maybe that's not great. Maybe bounce land, Radiant Fountain. Hope to rip something off the explore. Punished for not getting double bounce land. So we're dead to Bolt, we're dead to Solitude. We're dead to, yeah, we're dead to everything. Okay. That was tricky. The ending on the map was quite good. I'd really like to just draw a threat now. Hopefully he doesn't just name Simic Growth Chamber. Oh my gosh. The reeds. No second Alpine Moon, please. Okay, we got things going on. Things are happening. So I can play the Karn now, or I can play the Karn next turn. I think I want to get the Karn down. It's a little... I don't know. This is a big construct. I wouldn't be doing this if this construct wasn't going to be so big. See what's happening. Okay, Kiera. I think I'm just gonna make a ballista. Maybe I attack first. It's not like the 1 damage matters that much. See what happens on the attack. Maybe ballista just goes to hand. Don't hate just ballista to hand. We're threatening to make it really big next turn. We got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We can make a 5/5 ballista. That is out of fury range. I'd like to avoid Fury plus Solitude here. No Fury. Oh, if this is Omnath into fetch land into Fury, that's going to be rough. Okay, this is fine. I can live with this. We get back the Ballista. No Fury. Oh. Okay, okay, okay. That's a Primeval Titan. I think I want to just Ballista this turn, though, because I think Solitude plus Ephemerate is still a problem. And this just makes Solitude have to target the Ballista. And not be able to be ephemerated. Yeah, I don't see any reason to do anything other than this for this attack. Fury, okay. Fury on Dryad, okay. Good draw. So I think it's time to kill our opponent now. Yeah. 3 amulets is a lot of amulets. Haven't been got by Force of Vigor yet. I feel like I'm due to get blown out by Force of Vigor. This hand really needs lands, but if it draws lands, it's very good. I don't know if I'm supposed to go Saga or not. I think I'm so short on lands that I just really want this Saga to get me Expedition map as soon as possible. And if we get Alpine Moon, it really sucks. But it is life. I'm just gonna make a token. I don't want to reveal that I'm so land light, because it might change their play patterns if they know that they can. If he knows that he can get me on lands. Bounce land. Okay. I guess I'll get my 2 damage in. So we're both a little mana screwed this game. Once I get to 6 mana, though, this hand has a silly amount of Primeval Titans in it. Assume this is Risen Reef, sure. Fury, makes sense. Getting the lands that they so desperately need. I like Celestia's Sanctuary Valakut here. Just means we can maybe haste a Titan in the future. Develop our mana. Might go for like double Dryad next turn. So I might like lead on a Primeval Titan attack. Mole Drifter. Hard cast Mole Drifter. Do we get to attack? May I please attack? Okay. I think I'm just gonna get Valakut plus fetch land? Oh, I don't have any fetch lands left. Interesting. Valakut plus Sunhome. I don't want to run anything into a Solitude plus Ephemerate, so I'm just going to transmute for Summer's Back Tier. Play land. Pass the turn. If he doesn't have Ephemerate mana, I think we're just winning. Interesting that he would just go to discard. I mean, we're winning, but what is the best way to make sure we don't lose this game? I guess if we play a Titan and attack, it forces double Solitude, and then those Solitudes are in the graveyard, and then next turn we have so many Dryads. There's like gotta be Force of Vigor. That's gotta be a card we're aware of. I think I'm just gonna go for a Titan and haste it, because I think Force of Vigor is one of the cards that we're playing around right now. I don't even know. Such, I guess, like double Saga. just have everything. I could go for Dryad here, but I think there is a 100% chance that there is a Force of Vigor in their hand. So, just based on play patterns. Yeah, part of the reason for going for all those sagas is I just didn't want Alpine Moon to go to Valakut. If they have Solitude plus Ephemerate, makes more sense to go to combat first. And being allowed to attack. Can't believe how much I'm just getting Titan triggers. Okay, I want a bounce land in hand, and I don't even know. Castle Garenbrig? Now I just grab Ballista and kill. There was no reason to double strike unless they fetched to gain 4 life. Okay, so 1 match to me, 1 match for Piegonti. Time for the tiebreaker. This is a great game 1 hand. Be a lot weaker if Force of Vigor was in the deck, but as for game 1, this hand is just got even better. This is about as good of a hand as we can ever hope for. We even have the Crumbling Vestige so that we don't have to bounce the Saga as we play the Dryad, which is just chef's kiss. We even get a Construct token. Oh no, we don't get a Construct. We gotta tap. Can't have everything. Guess I'm supposed to play fetch there. I don't think it really matters. Maybe not, no, because if they get rid of Amulet, I want untapped lands in hand. I guess they can't get rid of the Amulet. We're getting off Saga, though. Bounce Saga. That's fine. just going to set up for the next Titan. No need to get greedy. They have to leave Ephemerate mana up, otherwise we just get to go nuts. That's not Ephemerate mana. I guess we play land first. We're getting Valakut Slayers, so forest is fine. Maybe I'm supposed to do Windswept Heath there. It's not particularly important. I don't care about this Teferi. I want to get their life total low so I can potentially just Ballista out. I think I'm actually going to stay off the Dismembers. I said I might test it a match, but I think I like the plan I'm on. I think it's felt right. Just against Ephemerates and things, it just doesn't seem like where I want to be. I think I'm just going to go for the turn 3 Karn. I'm not going to leave myself open to Force of Vigor more than I have to. Yeah, that's okay. Ooh, great draw, great draw. Sad face. Maybe I'm not even just... Maybe I'm supposed to not even play the Saga there. I mean, this is just all about Karn now. Force of Negation being quite good. No second Reef. Getting Kahira. I accept I think I'm gonna get engineered explosives. Maybe amulet. Amulet isn't terrible. They could be just Kahiriing. Usually don't hate amulet. Amulets. Gets us to chaining titans faster. Are we gonna get another Karn activation? I was expecting Kahira attack Karn, but I'll take another Karn activation. What am I doing here? Maybe I'm just Ballista? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna Ballista for 3. That way the inevitable solitudes don't chain as much. And I'm not gonna use the Ballista until they try and cast an elemental, because otherwise they could respond with a solitude here. It's a good draw. They're unlikely to have double solitude. So I think I'm gonna play Celestia. That way I can double strike. Pick up. Pick up Vestige. Guess I didn't leave myself blue mana if this Dryad dies, which is a problem. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on one short. Playing around Force of Negation here. Laria West. And Valakut. Guess we have the blue thanks to the Alpine Moon. Hopefully he doesn't bounce the Alpine Moon again. That could be a problem, taking us off blue. It's a pretty tricky play to spot, though, I think. Fury Ephemerate. So I'd like to see if my Dryad lives. before I go in on Karn. What do I want? I could go liquid metal coating, start going after white sources. Could just go bridge. I could go EE, blow up the Alpine Moon. I think I'll just grab engineered explosives for now. It's sort of flexible. I can use it in a lot of different ways depending on situation. Okay. Something they have to deal with. Okay, hey, you there?
Yeah, are you recording?
Yeah, I got the audio recording.
Okay.
So those were some interesting matches. I definitely drew a lot of amulets in the first two matches, which was very good for me. Of course, I punted game three of that match. I mean, neither of us played perfectly, like you said. You wanted to you regretted your sequencing with the Dryad there on in that last match. You know, I think there were a lot of interesting moments. I think my takeaway from that was just that Ballista is so powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I hoped you didn't see the line of exiling it with Solitude and getting it back. And like, I basically lost one game to Ballista itself.
Yeah, yeah. And then in other games like the Ballista, even if it wasn't single handedly killing you, the fact that it was killing your Risen Reefs and like clearing the way for Primeval Titan to where you couldn't like ephemerate your Solitudes or whatever was just very powerful.
Yeah. Also, like in the last match, I don't know, I thought you could have committed a little bit much on the Dryad, so I waited on the Force, but eventually it was bad for me because you had Tolaria and I didn't know you had that, so I
Yeah.
would have played differently, of course.
Yeah, it's always tricky. So, like on my side of this matchup, I'm sitting here the whole time, and it's always like a decision of like, how much do I want to commit, right? How much do I want to commit to the board at any particular time? Because I can get punished by like Solitude Ephemerate. How many? I mean, there was one match, and I don't know if you'll go back and watch these videos, but there was one match where I just basically had a hand that it was like 3 Primeval Titans and 2 Summoners packs, and I'm like, I'm winning this game, right? Like, this is just too many threats. He's never going to be able to deal with this. But how many threats do I put on the board at any particular period of time? Because if I just start to throw everything onto the board, suddenly I can just get blown out by like Solitude Ephemerate and then like untap to Fairy Bounce Solitude, and suddenly I'm out of Primeval Titans, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I feel you have to balance very well the number of threats you want to put on the board. I feel one of the ways I get blowout usually, but didn't come up in the matches, if I recollect correctly, is you have a fetch, you have a Dryad, and you have a Valakut. And that's a devastating sequence for me because I get blown out no matter what I do.
Yeah, I that actually almost came up one game, except it was a game where I had fetched both my fetch lands, so I didn't have a fetch land left in my deck to search. I was
Yeah.
like, now I'm just gonna get Valakut fetch land off this Primeval Titan, and then that way when I play my Dryad, I'll get the triggers no matter what. And it's like, I don't have any fetch lands left, so I guess I'm not doing that. But yeah, no, fetch lands can definitely be a good way to blow out. Yeah. Uh, I think overall after playing this, and I mean, like I said, I thought going into this that I felt like I was favored. I think it's close, but I think the Titan deck has the edge, and I think going out, I definitely drew well. That so that helps, but I think coming out of this, I think my conclusion is I feel favored because I think ultimately, I think the main way I lose this game is you get double Risen Reef and you just go out of control and I just can't beat that. But I think if you're not doing that and I sequence my plays correctly, I use my Karns, I use my Ballistas, I don't overcommit to the board. I think there's usually a line to like make things line up favorably.
Yeah, I mean, the matchup seems to be slightly on your part. I feel mostly because you play Karn. If you didn't play Karn, I feel the matchup is probably even because you don't have many threats. So
Yeah.
I have enough. But Karn fetching Ballista is always a pain because I don't have a real way to deal with Karn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
last game I had force of negation. But I had to play my Omnat, so I was sitting there with double Force of Vigor. Hopefully you play a Dryad, but you just play Karn and Ballista, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of just me sitting trying to guess what answers you have and trying to play the threats that, like, your answers don't line up well against. Or, yeah. So, because sort of the idea of Karn, too, is just, like, throw as many threats at the wall as possible until one sticks. I still, obviously, Amulet is, a fringe deck. Most of the results come from a few just sort of dedicated people. So, having an unfavorable matchup against Amulet is not anything against elementals. Obviously, it's really, really good against like the control decks and other sort of grindy decks that it can just outgrind, and I think it's a great place to be in the meta right now. But yeah, I had a really fun match, and I really appreciate you agreeing to do this. I think this will make some great content, and hopefully people like something like this.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, and have a nice day.
Oh, and one last thing before you go.
Yeah.
Was there anything you wanted to plug? Anything? Your Twitter, Patreon?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at my name is Piegonti, and I'm part of a wonderful team, testing and crushing team. We post sideboard guides and articles of the most popular modern decks and in general Magic decks. So yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put the links to that in the description below. So
Thank you.
everybody look to the description below. Check for links, and definitely follow Piegonti on Twitter. You're going to get some great modern content, and look into that Patreon if you got the money. That's an excellent place, like I said, for sideboard guides and things. And thank you so much. I really had a wonderful time with this. Everyone, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I think that's it. Have a good one.
Goodbye.